I wanted to, because I've had some people tell me that they would like to hear my take on what all's been going on, if it lines up with what I've heard. So the long and short of it, from what I understand, is Wizards of the Coast has said that there will be an OGL moving forward for One D&D. However, this is not the OGL that you and I know for 5e. Terms of this are changing, and this isn't the kind of thing that's getting hidden behind like NDAs anymore or whatever. Wizards of the Coast, I think what they meant by key creators in their email that they sent out the other day, they could have really easily clarified this. What they most likely meant was third-party creators who are publishing work that is most likely making at least, like, we're talking about $750,000 plus. We'll get into that here in a second, but to the majority of you all that are in my audience and that are publishing right now, the most effect that you're going to feel from this is going to be that products that are published by people like Ghostfire Gaming, or you could even say Cobalt Press, are going to take a hit. In terms of, they won't be able to hire as many people to work on the product. And also, I'm real sorry if I suddenly get a nosebleed in the middle of this. This whole upper respiratory thing has been screwing up everything up here. So, to the average Joe that is doing things like, let's talk about what kinds of publishers there are that are doing third-party shit, okay? So, if you're over on the DMs Guild, we haven't seen the DMs Guild CCA, and whether or not that will change, I don't know that it will. I haven't heard anything that says that it should, okay? Now, the news that I heard is that there wasn't going... the OGL would not be working moving forward for One D&D. And the long and short of that, the way that I was told, was essentially that there was not going to be an OGL. So that is not entirely correct here. There is, but it's changed, okay? It's changed to the point of where it makes sense for who told me that they feel that they're no longer covered. Yeah, explains why Griffin and Saddlebag was so rightfully upset by it, yeah. Well, but Griffin didn't know entirely what all was going on with this. Let's read through it, okay? And I will let you all kind of know my opinions as we're going through. In terms of who this will affect, there's OGL creators like what I do with the Vanguard and the Sovereign. You all know how those are not on D&D Beyond. Okay, or sorry, D&D, DMs Guild. Those aren't on the DMs Guild, right? I'm publishing those on my own site. Because of that, I don't have to pay out, well, rather, the DMs Guild is not shaving off the 50% off of every sale. Because those are OGL, I get essentially 100% of every sale. Shopify has their own little, like, cut that I have to pay every single month, right? I also pay out for digital hosting and all that other stuff. So there's a difference there. I'm still paying out a bit to somebody in order for me to host it, right? Business is business. You're going to pay somebody. So over on the DMs Guild, though, that's where I have the Alchemist, the Merchant, the Dancer, and the Runekeeper. All of those, the DMs Guild is taking a 50% cut. 20% of that is going to Wizards of the Coast. The other 30% is going to One Bookshelf, okay? So One Bookshelf has their hosting fees and all that good business. They're the people that actually run the DMs Guild. 20% going to Wizards of the Coast is it's a licensing fee, okay? It's the ability to use the community content agreement through the DMs Guild. That way that you can use things like the Forgotten Realms IP, all that other good business, all right? The people who I was most worried about this with, and I'm going to say this because I've seen some people out there, especially in the YouTube sphere, that are saying that, like, this was all a big, like, panic for no reason or whatever. I saw Questing Beast did a video the other day that was a misrepresentation of what I will say is the big concern here. And the big concern was that people that are trying to make third-party content for One D&D moving forward were going to be affected by it and may not be able to completely monetize with an OGL. we didn't really give a damn about the OSR guys that are doing their retro clones. Of course, they'll still be able to work in whatever license it is that they're working in. We don't care about that. We don't care about that. We were worried about working for One D&D and moving forward. So the video getting put out at the time that it did made it seem like it was supposed to be like almost like a pushback against the main concern of people trying to work in One D&D. This is a thing where, like, despite the fact that he didn't really put this context specifically in there, he didn't say, of course you can still work in One D&D as long as you don't use like the terminology or what the hell ever. He didn't need to say that. It was implied by the time that it came out. Okay, like this was the one big hot news going on right now. So the response was, I think, like misinformative or misleading. So that was like, I don't really get what the point of that video getting put out was. To anybody else that was saying like, well, we're being alarmist about this or what the hell ever, a lot of the people that I saw saying this aren't even working in the OGL anyways, so I don't really get why the hell they were throwing in their own opinions or whatever. This is what I publish under. Like, this is what me, Heavy Arms, I know Benjamin Huffman is looking at moving over to completely OGL. This is what guys like us have been worried about. The OGLs, SRDs, and One D&D. We love the interest and passion the community has for D&D. We love D&D too. So when we see the D&D community concerned by rumors and misunderstandings, we want to clear the air and share the facts with you, even if it's a bit earlier than our original plan. You all matter to us, and we want to provide transparency on how D&D will continue supporting third-party creators. By the way, it's because I leaked this that this happened. Okay, I've seen a lot of people that are like, Taron was fear-mongering or clickbaiting. It's because I dropped the leak that this happened. Okay, so, like, yes, okay, there was a legitimate concern for this. You all matter to us, and we want to provide transparency on how D&D will continue supporting third-party creators. So here are the facts. Will One D&D include an SRD? Okay, will One D&D include an SRD, the systems reference document, / be covered by an OGL? Yes. Okay, you know what? Here, good news will highlight in green. Bad news will highlight in red, all right? First, we're designing One D&D with 5th edition backwards compatibility. Clarify this, Wizards of the Coast. Clarify this, Wizards of the Coast. So far, character options are not backwards compatible. Not 100%. I've even seen the way that you guys are writing the whole like, well, you get these options at this level or what the hell ever. It doesn't work for Bard. So all existing creator content that is compatible with 5th edition will also be compatible with One D&D. No, actually my Vanguard's not. It would still work, quote unquote, but I need to update some things. We will update the SRD for One D&D as we complete its development. Development that is informed by the results of playtests that we're conducting with hundreds of thousands of D&D players now. Okay, yes. I did not assume that like they were going to be dropping, they're not going to be dropping a legal license. That's like, this is what you guys need to use. If they like need to immediately update it. I completely understand that. Completely understand that, okay? I was fear-mongering / clickbaiting. WotC responding doesn't justify lying. I was not fear-mongering or clickbaiting. Shut the fuck up. Hodgepodge syntaxia? Okay, explain to me how the fuck I was fear-mongering or clickbaiting if the information that I heard led to WotC actually responding here. What the fuck ever. We will update the SRD. I expect this to actually be a thing. I expect as the license evolves over time, yes, this would actually change. Completely understand that. Wait, we will update the SRD. So this is making me think the SRD is the 5e SRD. So okay, now hey, let me kind of get this summarized real quick. At least what I got out of that from my first take. We will update the SRD. So this is the systems reference document. So by them saying this is making me think singular. Not as in they're coming up with a new SRD. They are updating the original for 5e. Is this... I mean, does that seem like that's a reasonable take? As I trusted, it was evidently not reliable in this case, but info... I still think that the source that I had was reliable. Well, no, it's not that the source that I had was unreliable. They did give me information that was at least what I would say it is pertinent. Okay, here, let me say this. The sources that I have had that have given me the information that I did are affected by this. Okay. Of course, this isn't revealed. It's not a source. It's fiction. Hodgepodge. All right. I'm just going to do this because I'm already fucking sick of you. So number one, let me just get this out there real quick. I didn't make up anything. Okay. The information that I conveyed in my videos was what I had heard. Now, some people don't seem to understand if you're given a leak by somebody that's in the industry that may be under contract with somebody else, like signing a fucking non-disclosure agreement, you protect your fucking sources to make sure that number one, they don't get in any goddamn legal trouble or like lose their fucking job. And then number two, you do this to make sure that you still get fucking information from people that you, number one, that you trust, and number two, that you know to have pertinent information. Okay. So there's a couple different reasons why I was protecting this person's, or these people's rather, identity, okay? And I still will be. So, no, I don't really give a shit who the fuck is frothing at the mouth for me to drop these, like, names or what the hell ever. It's not fucking happening, all right? So if you're not cool with that or whatever, you can call me a dick. I don't really care. I'm protecting people that I care about, and I don't want to get in trouble because they trusted me with information. All right. So if you do shit like that where you're saying, oh, you're fucking lying, oh, what the hell ever, look at me as a grifter. I don't give a shit anymore. All right. I'm just going to fucking ban you if you still feel necessary to engage with my content upon believing that I'm a grifter. Okay. It's just not going to work out. All right. So yeah, it seems like common sense. There you go. All right. I have gotten information in the past that has proven to be true. All right. Like industry standard truth. So you all can probably assume that I might have a fucking reliable source. All right. Second, we will update the SRD for One D&D as we complete its development. All right. So I'm not getting it super hung up on that. But at least this is making me think that updating the SRD might mean them updating it for, as in they are updating the SRD that we know, right? So, yeah, my dad says Hasbro CEO, yeah. If the classes are changing in design anyways, then the SRD needs to change, or else it wouldn't be an accurate reference document. Yes, I think that it might be more helpful to actually have a separate SRD for One D&D than to have them be the same thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe if it was like they decided to go like, boom, the SRD that we're going with is going to be this right here. It'll be this like going forward, right? Now, development that is informed by the results of playtests that we're conducting with hundreds of thousands of D&D players now. Okay. Will the OGL terms change? Yes, we will release. Okay. To everybody that was like, you're making this shit up. Guys, the people that I am most concerned about right here are affected by this. This is killing a lot of, we'll get into this here in a second, but this is killing a lot of Kickstarters. This is doing a lot of damage, at the very least, to a lot of Kickstarters, okay? Now, will the OGL terms change? I like working with the current OGL. We are going to see what these terms mean here in a second, all right? We will release a version 1.1 of the OGL in early 2023. So now we do know that we are going to have an OGL for One D&D. Okay. I'm not trying to do any kind of finagling with the wordage or whatever to make it seem like I am right, like 100% right here. Okay. Based off of my information, at least the way that I was told, was that there would not be an OGL for One D&D. So some of the information that I got was incorrect. Okay. But me doing the leak led to this getting put out early. All right. The OGL needs an update to ensure that it keeps doing what was intended to do, or what it was intended to do. Allow the D&D community's independent creators to build and play, independent creators to build and play and grow the game we all love, without allowing things like third parties to mint D&D NFTs and large businesses to exploit our intellectual property. So what's changing? First, we're making sure that OGL 1.1 is clear about what it covers and what it doesn't. OGL 1.1 makes clear it only covers material created for use in or as TTRPGs. So them trying to knock out NFTs, I guess they're trying to cover their ass there for that, sure. And those those materials are only ever permitted as printed media or static electronic files like EPUBs or PDFs. Okay, so these things can only appear as printed media or as static electronic files. Based off of what I've heard is in here later on, it's going to be really hard to make sure that you get printed media out there unless you're going specifically through a few different sources like the DM's Guild. Other types of content like videos and video games. Videos and video games are only possible through Wizards of the Coast fan content policy or a custom agreement with us. To clarify, outside of printed media and static electronic files, the OGL doesn't cover it. So they are, in some ways, hurting things like, you know about Solasta, what's it called? Solasta, Crown of the Magister. This is a video game that essentially is using like the D&D 5e as a video game, not engine, but rule set, right? So it is essentially D&D, what's in the SRD, and a little bit of other licensing that they're using in order to make a video game, right? So according to this would seem like the OGL might not cover it. This will affect the D&D content and services players use today. It shouldn't. Really, when you say D&D content here, which is making me think that like you only really care about the stuff that's already officially licensed, right? I would be hopeful that it doesn't affect that stuff. The top VTC platforms already have custom agreements with Wizards to do what they do. D&D merchandise like minis and novels were never intended to be part of the OGL, and OGL 1.1 won't change that. Creators wishing to leverage D&D for those forms of expression will need, as they have always needed, custom agreements between us. So I do wonder what the Solasta developers are thinking right now, for sure. How does this affect live play streams that aren't associated directly with Wizards of the Coast? It really shouldn't. I don't see anything that makes me think that anything that's required for a live play is going to like really get hurt by this change in the OGL. So, yeah, meh. Colossal is using 5e rules, not One D&D rules, so they should still be covered by the OGL, right? I wonder how much Wizards of the Coast is trying to make as updates to the OGL, or I'm sure that they've already been in talks with the Solasta people. All right, I don't think you can do videos or live plays now. No, you can. You can. Yeah, it's fine. Fan content policy covers that. Okay, so the fan content policy is basically if you aren't like directly making money off of it by putting it behind a paywall, it is most likely okay for you to be making that content. The fan content policy is basically Wizards of the Coast saying you can make what the fuck ever you want to, you just can't make money off of it. All right, they're like, you can make it, you can put it out there, you just can't eat any cheese off that plate. All right. Second, we're updating the OGL to offer different terms to creators who choose to make free, share-alike content and creators who want to sell their products. Okay. The creators who choose to make free, share-alike content and creators who want to sell their products. This is us. All right. This be me. This be the way that I'm making money. All right. So what does this mean for you as a creator? If you're making share-alike content, very little is going to change from what you're already used to. If you're making commercial content, relatively little is going to change for most of our creators. Okay. For most of you who are selling custom content, here are a few things you'll need to do. Accept the license terms and let us know what you're offering for sale. Okay. Report OGL related revenue annually. If you make more than $50,000 a year, okay. Most of us are already going to report this to the government anyways. At least here in the US. This I'm sketchy on. Include a creator product badge on your work? What? whatever. When we roll out OGL 1.1, we will also provide explanatory videos, FAQs, and a web portal for registration to make navigating these requirements as easy and intuitive as possible. We'll also have help available to creators to navigate the new process. For the fewer than 20 creators worldwide who make more than $750,000 in income in a year, we will add a royalty starting in 2024. Here we go. So even for the creators making significant money selling D&D supplements and games, no royalties will be due for 2023, and all revenue below $750,000 in future years will be royalty free. Bottom line, the OGL is not going away. Okay. You will still be able to create new D&D content, publish it anywhere, and game with your friends and followers, and all the ways that the gaming community has been so great. The thousands of creators publishing across Kickstarter, DM's Guild are a more critical part of the D&D experience, and will continue to support and encourage them to do that in One D&D and beyond. Publishing across Kickstarter, the DM's Guild. So we have these two specifically, right? But I know Kickstarter creators who have made over $750,000 off of something that are now having a chunk taken out of that. We don't like this. This is whatever. We were already protected by the CCA. If you're working in the DM's Guild, you don't even use the fucking OGL. You use the CCA. All right. My thoughts on this. I did not expect the Benjamin. I did not expect the 5e OGL to make it out like into this new edition or whatever completely like unscathed. I always knew that legally there was going to be some kind of an implication or some kind of a change made to the OGL, the SRD, all this other shit, right? So I'm expecting a change. What I was not expecting is that the bridge that is going to be the thing for most of us to go from being, like we make stuff on the DM's Guild to really working in the industry and working on a big product, working with a publisher that makes and is able to pay us more than like, I don't know, maybe like $5,000 to work on a product. Those people are that bridge that's there in order for us to potentially move over into the professional world is getting kind of burned here. So this won't affect a huge percent of people, but this does definitely affect people that are trying to bring on more designers or that are trying to get brought on as a designer onto things like Kickstarter projects or something like MCDM. I guarantee you the people at MCDM right now are trying to figure out what the fuck they're going to do about One D&D. They could probably try to keep continuing on, doing the SRD as they want to, whatever. That's not the thing that most designers want to do. We want to be able to keep creating for the game moving forward, right? Yeah, Matt Finder incoming. This is also affecting Critical Role. This is going to affect, Critical Role, MCDM, Kobold Press. Boy, if Paizo were trying to do anything for One D&D, and why would they? Well, they already did for 5e. Okay, so if Paizo were trying to do something for One D&D, ooh, that's this is fucking over their big This is kind of fucking over their biggest stars and heavy hitters. Mage Hand Press. I think that Mage Hand Press is. I think that how much did Voldas make? Woo, buddy. Boy, they came in just under that fucking threshold, huh? Woo! Holy crap! Wow. Yeah. I think it's a 750K. If I do, you will see me making my own printing. I would be investing in pretty heavily into making community content pretty easy to. Yeah, I got plans for if I have my if Taron gets if Taron got rich kind of plan. What the fuck am I doing? Whatever. Now, because they're an LLC, that might be a little bit complicated, and like these are the people that this is going to hit. Okay. The people like me who are looking at getting into professional design in terms of like working for a company, it's going to be hard for us to get some work because companies are already planning for like, oh shit, what's this royalty that we've got to pay out now? Okay, so there's a new expense getting tacked on top of everything. All right, so let's go through Benjamin Huffman's thread. For those of you that don't know how the fuck do you not know who this is by this point? It's because of this guy that I even got into like homebrewing. All right. Benjamin Huffman is the guy that made The Pugilist. He's done work for Ghostfire Games. He's been brought on as a consultant on a lot of professional stuff. All right. This is one of the most successful guys in the third party, if not the most successful guy in the independent third party scene. Okay. This is his thread. No, this isn't. Yeah, no, this isn't Monocle. But Ross has his own takes on this. We might get into on another thing. This is gonna fuck over Critical Role if they decide to make TTRPG content using the OGL. Okay, this right here. I can understand why at first blush this looks acceptable to many small creators. It doesn't impact as much. What has me very worried, and is potentially catastrophic for anyone trying to make a career out of third-party game design, like this guy right here, is the royalty on income over $750,000. Obviously, I don't make $750K a year on D&D products, a far cry from it. However, I have done plenty of commission work for folks whose entire business depends on the sales they make, and even if they have razor-thin margins. For some mid-tier companies, this will mean publishing for D&D is no longer viable. For others, they will look at the cut WotC is taking and trying to figure out how to cut costs elsewhere to make that work. You can't cut shipping, you can't cut printing, you can cut how many people you're employing and commission rates. If you've ever written for a company producing third-party D&D, you can probably kiss future commissions goodbye. And you can for sure kiss whatever already borderline meager rate you were getting goodbye. This update looks like a relief to many people because it's not as catastrophic as it could have been, but it's the equivalent of putting a goldfish in a bowl. It ensures that there's a cap on how big third parties can grow, ensuring they will never be able to be financially solvent and treat their employees and contracted workers fairly. And if you don't think that they will have this will have a knock-on effect to all other forms of D&D content creation, actual plays, dice makers, etc., well, let's wait a couple years and see. That's a lot of advertising money that won't exist anymore, and a lot of Kickstarter bonuses no longer affordable. Maybe it won't be that bad. Maybe Wizards of the Coast is going to ask for a 5% cut and call it that. I doubt it. I think they'll shoot higher, and it will destroy the livelihoods of everyone, depending on those mid-tier third-party publishers. I hope I'm wrong. This much money getting shaved off the top with this royalty cut means that, the cool things like seeing Heliana's do an ad spot on something like Critical Role or any other actual plays, okay? Or like Griffin's Saddlebag being able to sponsor an episode of Critical Role, that's going to go away. Those people are not going to be able to have advertising revenue because whatever this is going to cut into that. We don't know what the actual royalty percentage is going to be. We'll see. If it's anything like what it is over on the DM's Guild, then it would be 20%. I don't know. They haven't said, so I'm speculating here. I am truthfully telling you all right now, this is speculation on my part. I just know what they're charging us over on the DM's Guild is going to be 20%. And if they do lower it, then you're going to get a lot of us that are over on the DM's Guild that are like, hey, why can't we get that royalty cut right there? All right? Like, you see is it because we're not making enough money over here on the DM's Guild? Why don't we get that? Like, let us get that pie. It's a little suspicious that they aren't even disclosing the size of the royalty fee. I mean, they're suspicious, and then there's like, they just haven't figured that shit out yet, right? Yeah, I'm aware. We just read through the thing. They said there's going to be more information. Yeah. You think everything from 10 to 50% is realistic? They're fucking crazy if they think they're going to get 50%. They're fucking crazy if they think that that's going to work out for them. People are just going to not be making any of that content, So in general, my thought on this is like, look, for the majority of my content that I'm making, it's not going to hurt it all that bad. However, if I was starting to make money, you notice how they said something in here. Report OGL related revenue annually. We have to report that to Wizards of the Coast? Over on like little independent guy who's making like maybe 10K a year is they're not really getting hurt by this a whole lot. But the moment that you're making $50,000 where like you're somebody that's making this a full-time job, I'm wondering what WotC thinks gives them the right to be like suddenly, oh, you got to report that shit now. Haha, tell us. You're making that much money off of it now? Fucking tell us. And then I guess how do you report that? You have to show them a copy of your fucking tax return? What are they going to do with that? How are they going to get in there and say, aha, fuck you. Like you're giving us money now. What?